Okay, well, welcome everyone. Obviously, this is a softball parent meeting. If you're not, I don't know why you're here. We are going to introduce us. Before we do that, I'm going to remind everybody that this meeting is recorded and will be on the website later if you want to look back on it about anything, or you can just ask me directly or any of us coaches. I will be going off of what I wrote for the softball handbook. It is not officially finalized because we just got COVID guidelines today. So I haven't been able to put that in there. So it's not completely finalized. Once it is, I will send it out Robin will most likely send it out through email to you and the players. Okay. So first we're going to introduce, I'm going to let Jade go first.
Okay. So I see a lot of familiar faces, but those of you that don't know me, my name is Jade Daughton. I graduated from NFE in 2017, and I played softball throughout high school. I actually just finished up my student teaching in Elkader, so I graduate from UNI next weekend.
All right. My name is Bailey Monroe. I'm pretty sure I know all of you. I was my first year coaching here last year, and I absolutely loved it, so I wanted to be the head coach this year. We are missing, obviously, someone, Coach Keeker, who is not here. He's cheering on his son at the track meet right now, but he will be the 8th and 9th coach. Jade is the assistant JV coach. I, obviously, the head varsity coach. Okay, so to get started, okay, good. To get started, we're going to talk about our coaching philosophy as a staff, okay? I'm just going to kind of go through everything through the handbook. So we pride ourselves on being player-oriented. We like relationships, and we want those relationships to be strong and trusting. Okay, we believe that unless we don't have strong relationships with the players, us coaches, and the parents as well, obviously, that we won't have a successful program, okay? It starts with the trust and the fun and the relationship before we can actually get to the softball. Other than that, our absolute goal is to create a fun, respectful, and softball-loving community within our NFE school, okay? This year, we have a team motto. And as some of these, players who were at the parent meeting, you guys remember some of this stuff. But our team motto this year is purpose. We are going to show purpose, and we are going to have purpose. And what I mean by that is we're going to show purpose by our effort, by the players' effort, and our coaches' effort. And we're going to have it by having individual and team goals. Okay. Our expectations. So our expectation primarily is that we work hard. We are going to work hard for you and your students and your daughters. We want that same respect to us, and that they work for what they earn, okay? We also prefer them to be flexible and accept constructive criticism. Obviously, we are here for them. We're not trying to be mean, right? We're trying to help them develop their skills. So if there's ever a problem with that too, and I'll talk about this later, we expect parents and students to respect the 24-hour / next day rule, okay? Many students, and I'm sure parents know about this rule already. I think it's kind of a new trend. But just so we know that that'll be talked about later on. Playing time. Obviously, for our lower levels, 8th and 9th grade, as well as JV, we are going to work on, as much playing time as possible, just so they get that experience before they get to that higher level. Okay. However, when it does get to that varsity level, we expect them to that playing time to be determined by their effort, again, that purpose, and their attitude. Okay. We obviously take into consideration the skill as well. That's a no-brainer, but we expect them to respect our decisions. Also, know that just because we make a decision one game doesn't mean it won't change for the next either, okay? Also, for playing time, some kind of logistics stuff, players need to be at practice or have communicated to the coach why they were excused for missing practice. They also need to be eligible academically, right? And, that's it. We'll talk more about that later on. Interrupt me if you have anything too, Jade.
You're doing great.
Okay, so lettering. This is obviously for the varsity level. I have specifically spelled out that the player needs to have played 30 innings or just participated in 10 games, participated as in been on that 10-player roster at some point during the game, okay? Otherwise, it's just kind of like if you have made a positive impact and played the majority of varsity games, that's how you get an NFE letter through our program. Transportation, this is pretty typical. They're expected to ride the bus or van to the game, which is kind of different from last year, obviously, with parents driving and everything. That has gone away. So now everybody can wear a mask on the bus and we can all travel as a team, which is awesome. And again, though, we will need parents and a player signature on documentation to know who went home with their parents or legal guardian. Parental support. So I'm pretty sure I know some of you are already on boosters or that kind of fun stuff. But if you would like to be a part of that and don't know how to do that, especially for you maybe 8th grade parents, you can contact me or our AD, Lori Westhoff, in order to find that information out. Lori and I have decided that for ticket taking in the past, it's been pretty different to what we're going to do for this season and for future seasons. So ticket taking, we're going to ask parents to volunteer. However, there's a fun catch that you guys can get. So if you sign up for ticket taking for 2 games, you get a free pass that allows you to get into baseball and softball games for free. If you work 4 games, you get 2 free passes. So again, that's for baseball and softball games. We will send out that sign-up sheet at a later date, obviously, when our schedule is more finalized. And that'll most likely come from the school or Lori directly. So let's see. Sportsmanship. Now, this is directly from the athletics handbook, okay? I'm going to quote it. Strong, positive sportsmanship is the expectation for all coaches, players, and fans associated with the program at NFE High School. Okay, we all get frustrated. It's understandable. We all like to let our emotions ride. However, we want to respect, we want to show our competitors that we do it with class, and we are here for our girls primarily, not to get rowdy or say bad things that we don't need to say. So that's pretty much how that goes. All right, injuries, not a fun topic. So we strongly encourage girls to stretch. We are going to require a longer warm-up period this season, just because, especially during the month of May, when pretty much our entire roster is in track, right, golf, Claire, and soccer, or even our dual athletes between soccer or track. It's a lot of activity. We want our girls to be safe and healthy. So as long as we stress that stretching and warm-up routine, we shouldn't have any problems. However, things do happen. We already had something happen. And it was just simple, right? It couldn't be prevented, all of that fun stuff. So just communication between parents, student, and coaches on how it needs to be handled, what regimen you need to do, ice, however, whatever it is. Also, through your physical therapist if you have one, all that kind of jazz, okay? Communication. So we want parents to be comfortable with coming to us coaches, okay? That's what it's all about. Again, that parent and coach relationship, we want it to be strong and foundational, okay? So if a player has a concern or an issue, we expect them to approach the coach first, okay? That just teaches responsibility. Plus, we want to hear it from them rather than it coming from you first as a parent, okay? If further consultation is needed, then we will include you parents, obviously, as a buffer, I guess. But also, it'll be with an additional coach on the staff, whoever it is. That way, it can be not just between 2 specific people. And if needed, then we will go ahead. If the issue gets further, we'll go with our athletic director. There will be a hopefully nothing like that happens, right? Okay. Otherwise, again, that 24-hour / next day rule about respecting emotions subsiding before we actually have a constructive discussion on what's happening. Okay. Off season. So we encourage players to engage in other activities. Obviously, we're a small school and we want everybody to be involved as much things as they want. However, it is imperative, especially for pitchers, to be active with softball skills, okay, throughout the off season, in addition to lifting. So if you are in the off season and you play volleyball, but you don't play basketball, that's a great break for you to attend lifting through just the NFE, lifting time, and also to do some off-season opportunities with us. Pitchers, I will remind you guys that you should be pitching all year round, typically up until the winter, just maybe one time a week. One time a week, that's great. Once it starts to be like January, February, it needs to be around 2 more times, okay? But by then, off-season open gyms will be in full effect. Also, there are camps and travel leagues. Obviously, there's some for basketball and volleyball and those kinds of sports. There are some for softball. You might have to travel a little bit more, but if you are interested in those, I have connections, and if you can get in contact with me, I'll help you out with those, okay? All right, practices. Obviously, May is a busy, busy month, as I already kind of mentioned, okay? But us coaches tried to determine a time that would still allow for our other spring athletes to do some sort of softball skill during May while their other sports are finishing up, okay? We chose 4:15 to 6:30, mostly because some of us don't get off of work till around 4, but also because track and soccer and golf should be done around 6 o'clock. So our hope is that, actually our expectation is, unless it was prior discussed with a coach, that players should be there at least for the half hour or whenever the practice gets done to do a skill, whether we decide it's hitting for a half hour or fielding and throwing for a half hour. Okay, and if we have questions later about that more in depth, I can answer those. Clearly, practice times are subject to change, right? Because of weather, schedule changes. So those will be communicated through us coaches by GroupMe for the players who should already be on that. Twitter, our Twitter account, which is also listed in the handbook for when you guys get these later, and through text message, okay? Attendance. So it is expected that players be there 10 to 15 minutes prior to the actual start time of practice, just because they have equipment duties that they should be a part of. We are including our seniors into some kind of more responsibility, and they get to pick all that type of stuff out. So if you're running late, that's great, but at least try and be there so that when you're ready to go at 4:15, then we're ready to go. Equipment's all out, all of that fun stuff. We will be taking attendance each day just because primarily of COVID yet, so we can do contract tracing. Let's see. Excused absences are obviously, the typical sickness, family concerns, vacations. We ask that if you are going on a vacation, that be communicated at least 2 weeks prior, just so we can kind of plan who's going to be there at what games and so on and so forth. The coaching staff classifies missed practices as no communication from the player the day prior. So like, for instance, if, our schedules are crazy, right? If I forget that Claire has a golf meet, she should be expected to say, hey, I have a golf meet tomorrow. That way I won't be at practice, just so we know. Something new probably this year, if the player is sick, coaches all require that the parent message the coach, not the student, okay? We're going to do this for multiple reasons, but the main reason is that so everybody's on the same page, where Sarah told me that she's homesick, but yet mom doesn't know, and then there's a miscommunication there, okay? Eligibility. Again, this is kind of just a reminder. You have to be passing classes and at a well-accounted academic standing based on what the school has set. Physicals and all the concussion paperwork needs to be turned in, and I've contacted the players who have not, and I think they're on top of that. When school is in session, I was just made aware that there's a handy-dandy little thing that Barb sends me if you were late or missed a class unexcused, and you won't be able to practice that day, okay? So I will be checking that every day. If you come to practice but you were late or unexcused from Unified Science, then you can't practice, okay? When school is out of session, then obviously you follow our attendance policy of if you're gone and all that stuff that we kind of already went over. COVID, I'll explain at the end. Uniforms and practice attire. I've already kind of explained this to the players at their meeting. I will ask that players have sweatpants with them at every practice, just because that way we can have them put them on, slide. They don't be afraid to get, hurt or dirty or scraped up or all that kind of stuff. Something that might be a little different is that if you are changing, now I'm talking to the players, if you are changing out of like your uniform top into a shirt after a game, we ask that you do not change in public out in the space in the open. Either you change in the bathroom facilities or you have like a tank top underneath. No need for undergarments to be showing. Post-high school opportunities. I love talking about this one. It's awesome if you have any interest in playing softball after college. Typically, you start thinking about that around sophomore year. Please contact me. I'll be able to help you kind of think about where you want to go, what coaches at colleges you want to contact, all that fun stuff. Captains. We decided that we're going to have captains this year. So there's going to be 2 captains per level. So obviously 6 captains total, 2 for 8th, 9, 2 for JV, 2 for varsity. The girls will vote for this, and they'll do it about a week prior to the actual games and competitions starting, just to provide some more leadership and peer communication. Also, it's kind of nice to know that your peers want you as their captain too. So. Phone policy. Phones are not allowed during practices or games, okay? You're there for softball. We want your attention like we're giving you your attention, or you our attention, okay? They will be allowed. They will have them. However, they'll use them between games, during breaks at a tournament or something, or if they ask for permission. We're not animals here. If phones do become an issue, though, we will have in our possession like phone boxes. They'll be kept in a safe place on the bus that's locked or whatever during games or anything, but we will have them if it becomes an issue. So just to let you parents know. Okay, like I mentioned, we have 3 program levels. I think that's pretty obvious. Some kind of schedule things. Varsity has 5 tournaments total. Around 30 games, if not more, due to those tournaments. JV has a tournament, which is awesome. That has not happened in a while. And they have around 22 to plus games. 8th and 9th has 2 tournaments, and they have around 20 plus games. Okay. Again, the game schedule for all 3 levels is laid out in this handbook. It is obviously tentative, right? It may change. But if you want to look at maybe a more set in place schedule, they're on Varsity Bound or Quick Stats, however you want to search it. Another thing about games, BP, right? We need to hit before we go to these games. BP will be typically scheduled about an hour, hour and a half before bus leaves, okay? Specifically for the 2 JV varsity games we have during school, we are going to ask that the players come and do BP in the morning before school, okay? Just because I looked at the schedule, basically we have no time when we get there, so we need to hit at some point. There are 2 8th and 9th grade games already kind of in the works yet. So those would be around Wednesday, May 26th and June 1st. Okay. Let's see. We already talked about that. All right. Here's just a bunch of random other information I'm going to throw at you, like I have been already. Players are expected to have sweatpants. We mentioned that. Socks are $5 per pair. You need a black and a blue. If you prefer to have two of each, that's up to you, but you do need a blue and a black, okay? Those can be purchased at the high school, okay? Yes, I saw that. Yes, I would suggest probably maybe two of each, okay? Because things happen, they rip, all that fun stuff. Visors, if students want visors, they are $10. They are also purchased at the office here at the high school. We will have senior night, and I have set it for Wednesday, June 23rd, versus South Wynn, okay? There is a backup date for Thursday, July 1st, which is a JV varsity versus New Hampton. Okay, so we're excited about that. I have asked a fellow ex-college teammate of mine who I played with at Loris. She had her undergraduate in social work and has a master's in, I believe, psychology. I'm not 100% sure on that one. However, she is going to talk. We're going to have like a Zoom session with the girls, and she's going to talk to them about mental health, confidence, self-esteem, specific to softball skills, okay? We feel that it's just lacking. I don't know what it is. It's just generational or social media. I don't want to get into it, but I just feel like a lot of these girls could benefit from kind of like a pep talk and some things that they can say to themselves during the games to not get down on themselves, okay? Pictures. Pictures are going to be done by Carly Eady. The girls should have had a sheet already. If you need more, I can provide those to you or send them out for you to print off yourself. They will be on Sunday, May 16th at 6 p.m. With the amount of girls we have, which is 39, by the way. It might take 30, 45 hour range, okay? In-season fundraiser, we have been approved to do Edgewood locker meat fundraiser for brats and breakfast samplers and bacon and kind of beef stick type of things. We are going to start selling those on Monday, May 17th. Again, a lot of this I'll remind you guys about. Clothing order, it's already out. If you didn't know that, well, now you know. You can get the link from Twitter. It's posted on Twitter, and I believe the school has it on their announcements if you get those as well. The students should for sure have the link in their possession some way or some form. And that ends on May 11th, and we should get them back by May 27th, okay? One other kind of random piece of information, video and pictures will be utilized a lot through practice and hopefully games as soon as we hopefully get a team manager. Mostly for kind of like film, like for football, it's kind of the equivalent to look back, see what we can improve on, teach some more development and skills specific to the players as well. All right, now, when I breathe. We are going to do COVID-19 guidelines that I just received today. They're probably what you would expect, okay? So kind of just random things out there. We need to do contract tracing. So again, the attendance, that's why we're doing that. Self-screening and reporting is up to the students and the parents. So it's up to you how you're doing it or how you are now, right, doing it. But you can take temperatures, everything like that. But it's a self-screen process compared to last year where we took the temperatures at practice. We will no longer be doing that. Players should make every effort to maintain a 6-foot or large distance from other teams. Okay, so again, we won't shake hands when we're getting our names announced. We won't shake hands or high fives at the end of games. We'll probably do pretty much what we did last season with the claps and the waves, okay? Students are encouraged to frequently sanitize their hands during and after practices and games. So you are strongly encouraged to have your own. We are going to look into having some dispensers at the field as well this year, which would be kind of different. We'll look into that. Common equipment. more or less the team equipment will be sanitized before and after every practice and game. We will not be sharing catcher's gear again, so they'll, luckily some of us have our own now, new ones, woohoo! But they won't be sharing equipment, and if they do by chance need to share it, it will be sanitized between each person's use. Cloth face coverings are permitted and encouraged when not actively participating in competition. So basically what it comes down to is masks will be worn when we're on the bus, when we're in the dugout, and you don't have to wear them while we're actually on the field, okay? Athletes should bring their own water bottle. And here it says labeled. I don't really know if we need to go that far, but if you prefer to do so, go ahead. We will not be sharing towels, like sweat towels if we have them, or any sort of other towels that we need to like dry off balls or all that type of stuff. Either team can run down foul balls. That's new. Last year we had to, bring our own and get our own when they were foul, all that type of stuff. Either team can do that. That's new. Still no sunflower seeds, which is sad, but we still got to do it. For spectators, it's kind of the same thing. If you're in your household group, maintain a distance 6 feet from other households. Y'all are fine without having to wear a mask if you choose so. Otherwise, if you're kind of mixing households and all that type of stuff, you are recommended to wear a face covering. Yes, no sunflower seeds even from the spectators. We are also supposed to limit outside food brought by the teams, so tournaments might be tricky, but we'll work on that. And dugouts may still be extended down the line, so we still will probably do that. And I think that's about it. So that was a lot, and I think I talked a lot faster than what I should have. So any questions?
Is there going to be a concession stand?
There will be a concession stand, yes. Anybody from online have any questions? We're not scary, I promise. And again, if you have questions that you think of later, obviously message any of us. In the handbook, I do have the contact information for each coach, our emails and our phone numbers, okay? So again, once this all handbook gets sent out in the COVID guidelines, you'll have it as soon as possible and you can have all that information. Yes?
Do you have a preferred method of communication? Do you prefer text message or?
I am open. I will check my emails, phone, all of it. Yep. Yep. Yes. Oh, thank you. So yes, when out of school, 8th and 9th will be practicing in the morning. JV and varsity, we have decided we'll practice together and they will be a variety. Okay, the reason why, so they might be some in the morning, some in the afternoon. This way, we don't want to have what happened kind of last year, which was a lot of activity in a short amount of time. We'd play at night and then we'd have morning practice. And we just didn't feel that was beneficial to the girls. So we're going to try and have like maybe 24 hours in between like a game and a practice and stuff. So it'll vary. But I will send out a calendar for each month again and to each parent. So hopefully it's as smooth sailing as possible with the schedules. I don't know if anybody has messaged anything in here or not. No? Good questions. Anybody else? Well, okay. Well, thank you for everyone who's coming or who zoomed in. Again, this will be, it's recorded and it'll be on the school website. And we can't wait for summer. Practice on Monday. Thank you.